All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome. It is time for the North American Formula Series Tier 1 racing action. We are here in beautiful Zandvoort. It is time for the Dutch Grand Prix here. And what an exciting session of racing this is going to be. We had a great race this morning here in the real-life Formula 1. Qualifying was great as well. Hopefully the drivers here at NFS can keep that momentum up, ride the fantastic racing we've had all day today, and channel that for a great showing here on track. Of course, early stages, we are just jumping in. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you everybody for watching. My name is Fallen Monkeys. I am here in the commentator's booth to take you through the action, and what action it is going to be here today. Just kicking things off here in qualifying 1, and with 19 drivers on the grid, it is going to prove to be an exciting qualifying session. Of course, only the top 15 make it on to qualifying 2. The bottom 4 drivers here today will be eliminated out of qualifying and will be starting from position 16th through 19th respectively. And already we have fellow 31 who is out of qualifying 1 here in the very early stages, so we'll be starting from all the way down at the bottom of the grid in P19. So fellow is definitely going to have his work cut out for him here today. But right now it's Jonathan Dunk, who is currently on an out lap on the soft tires, who will be kicking things off here on this very high speed, very quick Circuit Zandvoort. Let's ride on board and we'll take you through a lap here. Crosses the line, heads towards turn 1, the right-handed corner, nearly 90 degrees, quickly on the power on the exit into a bit of a sweeping section before the first of 2 banking corners. In real life, they loved the outside line here on the banking. It looks like Jonathan Dunk taking a bit more of the inside line now into the most exciting section of the track from an onboard perspective. As a driver, it is relatively easy. Here is where the challenge comes, nailing that corner and then finding the braking at the right time to hit these next 2 corners. The line and the speed, very important through them, especially the exit there. And on this corner, you want to take a bit of a late apex to allow yourself to take the optimal line on the exit, head down the straightaway. This has always been a clunky corner, in my opinion, to make it through here, but Jonathan Dunk making it look easy on his first flying lap. Only 2 corners to go, and of course, around one of them, the final corner, a little bit of a tank slapper there on the entrance into the final corner, so that's going to affect the time from Jonathan Dunk. But to kick things off, it's a 1:10.403. And when I said fast, I did mean fast here on this circuit. We are going to see a lot of laps. We are going to see lots of drivers flying here around the circuit. But of course, high risk, high reward, as Bring F1 has seemingly found out, and Buck seems to be finding out as well, as he's now out of qualifying 1. And that's also Jacob, who's out of qualifying here as well. So crazy scenes. I'm trying to see. Oh, Deary Racing is out. This is chaotic scenes. Oh no. And Hewlett is also out of this qualifying session. All these drivers on these flying laps that have been that are essentially caught in this traffic with the cars not leaving. And if you're in a position like Fuse Rogue, for example, or I guess I should say light work on an out lap, so we'll get a bit of a better idea of what's to see. So there is Mem in there. There was the remains of the Alpine and what looked to be maybe Jacob there or Hewlett. But unfortunately for those drivers, they are going to be out of qualifying 1. And that does bring up a bit of a talking point here in Zandvoort, as we'll move over to Passassin, who's just set the fastest lap of the session, a 109.389 for his first lap time here in his return to NFS Tier 1. And what a return it is going to be, already a second faster than Jonathan Dunk, who's in second right now after his first lap. But Fuse Rogue going to be coming around himself. Light work is going to be coming a little bit shortly afterwards, but let's see what the first of 2 Aston Martins can do. Crossing the line, second fastest, a 110.1, so a good good lap time from Fuse Rogue, but still a little bit off the pace from Passassin. But like I was mentioning here, as we'll tune into light work through Sector 3 here in Zandvoort, and it's been the case for the last little bit. It's a high-speed track, but high risk, high reward, and it does breathe a lot of incidents and a lot of safety cars. And already here in Q1, we're seeing the type of incidents that they can come up with. The track is so narrow, so tight, the walls are so close here that one accident happens, the car ends up back on track, won't ghost, and all of a sudden it's a 3-4 car pileup that can do nothing but just sit back and hope for the best as they end up in the incident. And that's exactly what we saw earlier on here in Q1, but we are continuing on nonetheless. And with a case like this now, all you have to do, if you're still in the session, is set a lap time, and you should be through into qualifying 2 without any issues, because of course we have more than 4 drivers who are out of qualifying. It is unfortunate, but it is the case, the situation here. Crew Steamers currently on an out lap. We've got more yellow flags here on the track as drivers letting others through, getting themselves sorted out here on track. Scuba Steve is currently on a flying lap, so let's actually stick with Scuba Steve here. Let's ride on board with them as he's coming through Sector 2. Always a challenging sector here in Zandvoort. Especially that corner, for some reason for me, that one and this one here are always so difficult to get right. And you can see Scuba Steve doing wise to avoid the curbs there on the inside of that corner. You can get a little closer, but like I was saying, always wise to avoid. Better safe than sorry, especially in this installment of the F1 game, F1 2021. The curbs are very deadly here at every track, and especially here in Zandvoort. But Scuba Steve coming around the final corner towards the line. He is going P5, 5th fastest here for the Alfa Romeo driver. It's a 1:10.5 for his first lap time here on the board. VZ currently on a lap right now. Warrior Ends is just starting his lap, and Crew Steamers is the leading driver here currently on a flying lap. So we'll stick with Crew Steamers first, then head over to VZ afterwards, as VZ's just coming through Sector 2, and oh no, that was Crew Steamers going for a little bit of a half spin there on the penultimate corner, so that is going to affect the lap time for sure. Now at this point, the question is going to be, is he going to cross the line, just put it on the board? It looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. So Crew Steamers, it's a 119 flat, but we know there's room for improvement there. If we don't count that spin, it's probably much more on pace. VZ setting a 129.7 for his first lap time, so he's got something on the board, but might be looking to go a little bit faster here before the end of the session. Still 10 minutes to go here in Q1, so still lots of time to get a lap time set here. The Red Bull of Warrior Ends is coming around the penultimate corner, hitting the final corner now. There's that one tire that just won't disappear from the banking. It's just a part of the banking now for Q1, as Warrior Ends crosses the line, goes P7, a 111.002 for the Red Bull driver here in Q1. So 10 times on the board here out of 12 remaining active drivers, all vying to see who can make it on the top step of this Q1 podium, so to say. All challenging to see if they can match and beat the time set by Passassin, who is making a return here, reserving here around Zandvoort, and not missing a beat whatsoever here is Passassin with a 109.3, so a great lap time now, as Cones is setting a purple second sector here in that Williams, coming through Sector 3. Let's see if he can keep it up. Maybe he's got what it takes in the tank to come close, maybe beat the time. Coming around the final corner now, and as he heads towards the line, show me the time. What's it gonna be? It's a 1:09.641, so 0.3 of a second off of the time set by Passassin, who's just coming around the final corner now, looking to improve on his lap and looking to set something a little bit quicker, it seems. And unless he's on that same set of tires he set his first lap on, I gotta wonder what the call is here. Ooh, but actually going for a little bit of a spin, and that almost ended very poorly for Passassin on that flying lap, as now he's getting back on track. but of course nearly totaling that Mercedes, and that would have knocked him completely out of qualifying. Not something you really want to have happen here, with especially with a spot all but secured here into Q2. So as long as you've got a time on the board, as we're seeing, only driver who might be at risk is Equazer, as he's currently on an out lap, looking to set that one and only flying lap. But for Assassin, I think maybe just getting a little bit more reps and a bit more practice here in the race conditions, but doesn't seem like that's benefited for him. It's a bit of a risk that you're taking here, knowing that you might have possibility of spinning the car, maybe crashing the car and taking yourself out of qualifying when you've got that sheer shoe-in into Q2 with that 15-minute extra session there where you can really pump out the lap times. But we'll see how the drivers want to fare here. Still 7 minutes here in Q1. Equazer coming through the first of two banking corners here, nearing the end of Sector 1 through the always daring, challenging, exciting S sections here. Going purple in Sector 1, so looking to be a pretty darn good lap for Equazer so far. As it looks like there's another little piece of tire there that hasn't been taken out of the way, and that was a little interesting to see here. Always enjoy seeing the little debris on the track. I'm sure that'll get cleaned up before Q2 though. But coming to the end of Sector 2 now, it's purple in Sector 2 for Equazer. So looking to be pretty fast here in that Alfa Romeo, as he's only got one more sector to go. Gonna have to find the pace, gonna have to find the time. Coming around the penultimate corner, now the final corner, taking a low line through the banking, opens up DRS towards the line. Where's it gonna put him? It's gonna go P3. It's a 109.675 for Equazer, so a very good lap time for him here, and good enough to bring him very comfortably into P3 and well into Q2. Now, oh no, that's Scuba Steve, who is now out of qualifying. It seems he's sitting with that 110.5, but very crucially, he's behind Fellow, who is out. So I think Scuba Steve might have had a bit of an accident and maybe crashed out of qualifying 1, and that unfortunately means that his time in qualifying is over and done with, because that car got totaled. And a little bit of like what I was mentioning with Assassin, that's the risk that you're taking, setting extra laps here in Q1. You do want to improve, but of course you lose the car on a track like this one, where it is relatively easy to lose the car and relatively easy to total the car. You find yourself out of qualifying before you even really get into the thick of it, and I think that's exactly what happened to Scuba Steve, who will be now starting from P13 on the grid, which still isn't bad, but very much so could have been a little bit better for him here at Zandvoort. But of course, with 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go, VZ is coming around. Equazer is going to be diving into the pits actually on his lap, as we've got 3 drivers remaining in this session. Warrior Ends and Equazer both in the pit lane. VZ coming on what looked to be an in-lap there, and I think we might be hitting the end of qualifying here, barring one more driver opting to go out and set another lap time or two, which they can. They are entitled to do, but they are all solidified. They are all confirmed into Q2, so it is optional. And now with VZ being the final driver remaining in the session, diving into the pits now, I think that is going to be the end of qualifying 1. So it is going to be an early, possibly an early end here to qualifying, given the crazy chaos we saw in the early stages, coming around the final corner, around that final banking. Just one car losing it, putting that vehicle in the worst possible spot it could be, and collecting a couple more cars in the process. Made things for a very pedestrian qualifying 1 here, but now we will be moving on into qualifying 2, where it's going to be a competition to see who will make it into the top 10, who will take part in this top 10 shootout here for Q2. But now, as we've got the onboard there of what appeared to be VZ's Williams, there is the order here one more time for everyone. Assassin P1 in Q1 with a 109.3. Konze Opoder, Equazer, Jonathan Dunk, Lightwork rounding out the top 5. Fuse Rogue, Mr. Clean, VZ, Warrior Ants, and Villeneuve rounding out the top 10. Crew Steamers in 11th, Fellow 31 in 12th, not setting a time, but I believe just due to retiring out of qualifying, not crashing out, is still going to make it through somehow. Meanwhile, Scuba Steve, Memin, Bucks, Bring F1, Hewlett, TV Racing, Jacob, all out of Q1, all crashing out of Q1, so it's why we're seeing a few more eliminations than we normally would. When drivers do crash out of qualifying, that is the end of their session. They will not get to compete, even if they made it through into the next qualifying session, which is a little unfortunate, but it is the way the game works here. But now that we've hit the end of Q1, we are moving on into qualifying to the top 12 drivers looking to make it into the top 10 to see who will compete in Q3, the 12-minute shootout. But we've got this 15-minute session of qualifying as Fellow retires once again out of qualifying too, so will not be setting a time once again. Should be eliminated, I would think, into Q3 unless some more crazy scenes tend to happen here. But of course, we've had our crazy scenes in Q1. Not too sure how this is going to play out in Q2. But we'll see how it's all going to happen. Already, it looks to be a McLaren. I believe that's Villeneuve, 1965, hitting the track in that McLaren, looking to be the first driver to get a lap time set. So let's stick with Villeneuve here, as we'll watch him on his out lap, and of course, we'll watch him run his flying lap once he does get around the track to start, and we'll see what the benchmark is going to be from Villeneuve here in Q2, when the times are really going to start to pick up, and when we're going to start seeing these the fast times, or the faster times, compared to what we saw in Q1. But of course, in this Q2 session, Passassin, always a driver to be looking out for. Especially, he's come in here. We've seen the pace he has. We've seen what he can do in Q1, and I think he's looking for more of the same here in qualifying too. Looking to get that berth into qualifying 3 here, and so we'll see how that will all play out for him. But as Villeneuve comes around the final corner, heading towards the line, starting his first flying lap of Q2, he is on the Red Wall soft tires, so using the fastest tire compound here for his first lap, heading towards the first banking, taking a bit of a tight line, but wide on the exit through the first banking. Like I mentioned, the real-life Formula 1, they like that wide line going through the banking. It seems like the tighter line is more optimal here in F1 2021. Purple in Sector 1 for Villeneuve as the first driver to go around, to be expected, but love to see the purple sectors nonetheless, as now coming through Sector 2. It's looking to be a pretty tidy lap so far for Villeneuve. No crazy issues with the lap from what I've been able to see on my end here on my zone. But purple in Sector 2 coming through that always wonky corner, and unfortunately for Villeneuve, that's an invalidated lap time, and that is going to be the end of his first lap attempt here. We'll switch over to Mr. Clean, 233, who now goes purple in Sector 2 on the medium tires for Mr. Clean. So looking to rock that different strategy, and that could be something that we're going to be seeing from a lot of drivers, I think, putting on a set of mediums just to go faster and try to make it through into Q3 on the yellow-walled medium tires, which will last longer and have proven to be a bit more of a race tire rather than a qualifying tire. But Mr. Clean, a 110.5 for his first time in Q2, so pretty good lap time here. Fuse Rogue, meanwhile, next across the line. What's it going to be? It's going to be a 110.546, also on the medium tires for himself. Equazer about to cross the line to start his flying lap. Lightwork, I believe, is the next driver to complete a flying lap, as it's Equazer and Jonathan Dunk who are just going to be starting theirs just ahead. Now, as Lightwork crosses the line, show me the time. It's a 111.5, and that was on the soft tires. So maybe a little bit of a sandbagging, so to say, for the likes of Light Work, just giving him the opportunity to put on that set of medium tires and to go faster. Villeneuve, meanwhile, coming around the final corner, doing lap number 2, a 1:11.6 on the soft tires. So far, it looks like the medium tires are the quicker of the two here. But of course, with those banker laps in the softs, maybe they are saving pace to put on a set of medium tires to try to set a quicker lap later on in this session. Now with 10 minutes and 30 seconds to go, Jonathan Dunk running a flying lap. Equays going purple in Sector 2. Looks to be fastest on track and will be the next driver, I believe, to cross the line to complete a flying lap here. It's looking to be clean. I haven't seen too much of the lap though, but as he's going to head towards the pit lane, he's not happy with it. He's abandoning the lap. Jonathan Dunk, meanwhile, goes fastest. It's a 1:10.1 on the medium tires, so he's running that medium tire time. Passassin, he's actually looking to put on a set of soft tires, so an interesting call from Passassin. So is Warrior Ants for that matter, and Warrior Ants going 5th fastest, so P5 for the Red Bull driver. VZ now just starting his flying lap as he's on the mediums. No time on the board just yet for him, but I believe Passassin's going to be the next driver to cross the line to get a time on the board. There is either I believe that's a Fuse Rogue that's a little bit further ahead. Let's quickly take a look. Purple in Sector 2, so let's actually stick with Fuse Rogue as he's coming through into the final sector just before we tune back to Passassin on those medium tires going, ooh, just kept it inside the white lines there. That was very close for Fuse Rogue to getting that lap time invalidated, but does go faster, but not fast enough to take that pole position. Passassin, meanwhile, diving into the pit lane, so not happy with that lap time, so is going to dive into the pits, going to leave it at that, and we'll see if he's going to come out a little later in the session. Purple Sector 2 for VZ, but I don't think this is going to be a lap time representative of his pace. You saw the weaving there from that Williams heading down the straight, and already hitting the 110s with a corner to go. Definitely not going to be a lap time to remember for VZ. I think there was a mistake somewhere, and now he's just putting something on the board just for the sake of having something on the board. But now as we approach and as we sit into what looks to be a bit of a transitionary period here, looks like Cones and Quasar are on their out laps. Warrior Ants and Fuse Rogue are probably on their in laps now, I would think. VZ as well, unless VZ is looking to go again. It is looking like he's going again 2 seconds, or 2.3 seconds faster here in Sector 1 than his previous lap time. So let's stick with the Williams on those medium tires as with 7 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Sitting down in P8 is VZ with a distant P8, making a mistake on the previous lap time, and now as he hits Sector 2, 6.7 seconds faster in Sector 2 than his previous lap time, so he is looking to be flying right now, and if he can knock out a few more, that can maybe bump him up quite a few positions here to put himself pretty comfortably into that top 10, but he comes around the final corner heading towards the line. Is it going to be? It's a 1:10.452, and that very much so jumps him quite a few positions, puts him up into P2, only trailing Jonathan Dunk, who set that 1:10.1 very early on in the session, and no one's been able to challenge it, no one's been able to beat it just yet. But let's see if anybody can do it here. Cones is next to cross the lines. Cones Aopoder, and he crosses the line, and oh well, would you look at that? He does beat the time set by Jonathan Dunk. It's a 1:09.436. Or 436 for the Williams driver here. So both Williams drivers looking on point here in Q2, running P1 and P3. But just as I say that, Quasar sets a 109.6 on the soft tires. He goes second fastest now, and he is the only, he and Warrior Ants are the only ones in the top 10 who have times on the softs. Passassin put on a set of soft tires here as he's on an out lap. We'll see if he's going to set a lap time this time around or if he's just going to dive back into the pits. He is reserving, I believe, so I'm not too sure if he wants to medal here with Q3 and go for that pole position, or if he wants to start in the middle of the field and try to work his way up the grid, like we've seen him do in past seasons and just generally in the past. So we'll keep an eye out on that. But as he's coming around on the out lap, we'll head back to Passassin in just a few moments. 5.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Cones Aopoder in the Williams is currently sitting on pole position, or on provisional P1 here on those medium tires. Not on pole position. It is only Q2, excuse me. We still have qualifying 3 to go to after this one here. But we'll see if this order is going to be the way it's going to end, or if we're going to see any shakeup. One driver that can do that is Passassin, who's on a flying lap now on those soft tires, coming through the first banking, taking the inside line here, taking the low line, so to speak, through the banking corner. So we'll see how that's going to go for him. It's a 24.1 purple in Sector 1 for the Mercedes driver, who is showing a lot of pace and who has been showing a lot of pace time and time again here. So we'll see if he can keep this up in sectors 2 and 3 and see if he can put that lap together that he's happy with. But it's looking to be a good one here so far for the most part. A 48.222 as his Sector 2 time. So loving the 2s in Sector 2, and with one more sector to go. He's been purple in Sector 1, purple in Sector 2. Will he be purple in Sector 3? Towards the line, show me the time. What's it gonna be? It is purple. It's a 109.362, and that puts Passassin in P1, knocking Cones off of that spot by just 1/10 of a second. Now that does a little bit more crucially knock Villeneuve out of the top 10. So Villeneuve finds himself on the outside looking in here with a little under 4 minutes to go, crossing the line. Goes faster, but not fast enough. Gonna have to knock off about 7/10 of a second or so here from that 6 to 7/10 in order to creep into the top 10 is Villeneuve, as he is running around on those medium tires. And I think we'll have to see. He might just choose to put on a set of soft tires just for the sake of getting that lap time, unless he's okay with P11 and starting from that best of the rest and taking that free tire choice. We'll have to see how this is going to play out. But as Villeneuve is coming around, ooh, a little tank slapper there coming through the corner, and that is not going to help that push lap there for Villeneuve. It's going to be some time loss as he is fighting the car through the corners, it seems, and at this pace, or at this stage, maybe feeling the pressure of being outside the top 10 here with 2 minutes and 40 seconds and counting to go in this Q2 session. But he is the only driver on track for the moment. VZ, he's happy with his lap time. He's retiring out of Q2. Villeneuve is going to dive into the pits. So let's see what he's going to do. This is going to be big. Let's see if he's going to choose to come out for one more lap. But we're starting to see some drivers who are feeling confident that their times are going to make it through. They're starting to retire. Warrior And's doing the similar, sitting down in P9. So we've got some retirements here in these late stages of qualifying with 2 minutes to go. I think Villeneuve, he's going to have to be perfect with his inputs if he wants to get one more lap in, but it's going to be very close if he has the time, because it does take quite some time to get that car towed in and out. But we'll see how this is all going to play out here, if he has to manage the fuel in the process. But we've got 4 drivers remaining here, 1 minute and 30 seconds to go. There goes the Ferrari of Crew Steamers and Villeneuve exiting the pit lane. So they're both playing that precautionary game. They both know they're not safe. Villeneuve is definitely not safe, but Crew Steamers, I think he's aware that if he doesn't improve, he's essentially going to be relying on Villeneuve, who he knows is going to be on the soft tires. He's going to be a lot closer here. So now with a minute to go, it's the race around the track to see who is going to set the faster lap of the two, and we'll see if it's going to matter. It's but not an ideal strategy play for Crew Steamers, who finds himself in P10 now, having to compromise with that set of soft tires. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do to confirm yourself into Q3, because then all you need is a strong Q3 showing, and all of a sudden it doesn't really matter what tire you start on, because you've already made a lot of overtakes. You can just run near the front. But of course, we'll see how this is all going to be playing out here. As with 20 seconds to go, they do have enough time to make it around the track. Let's stick with Crew Steamers first and foremost. Or actually, you know what? I do want to stick with well, here, I'll switch between both of them here as they're going to come through their Sector 1 times, just so we can see here. So Crew Steamers, he's in the Ferrari, that number 57 Ferrari, coming through the banking. We've got Villeneuve shortly behind, as now qualifying has come to a close. Coming through the S's, that was a little bit of a tank slapper from Crew Steamers there. And through Sector 1, he's about 1/10 quicker or slower. Villeneuve, meanwhile, is a little bit faster through Sector 1. Now, as they're coming through Sector 2, ooh, that's an invalidation for Crew Steamers. So that is the end of Crew Steamers' attempt. So now he's going to have a little bit of a hope and a prayer here, as he's going to need to hope that Villeneuve won't go fast enough, won't be beating that 110.8. We'll see what it's going to be. Villeneuve, only 3/100ths of a second faster on those soft tires than he was previously. It's not looking like it's going to be enough for Villeneuve. I think maybe there were some mistakes somewhere along the way, but unless he had a very poor Sector 3 here, I don't think it's going to be enough to make it out of Q2. And no, it's faster. It's a 111.388, but right at the end of the session, it is not fast enough, and that's the McLaren driver eliminated out of Q2. Will be sitting from the sidelines, but for Crew Steamers in that Ferrari, he is saved from that invalidated lap, and it works out better for him, as now he gets to start the race on those yellow-walled medium tires. But through the order one more time, it is Passassin who's fastest in Q2 with a 109.362. Cones in second, a 109.4. Equazer, a 109.6. Lightwork, a 109.7. Jonathan Dunk rounds out the top 5 with a 110.1. VZ, Fuse Rogue, Mr. Clean, Warriors, Crew Steamers, rounding out the top 10 with Villeneuve and Fellow out of Q2. Fellow did retire from the session, so did not get a lap time set, so was essentially guaranteed to be knocked out of qualifying, barring some crazy scenes like we saw in qualifying 1. But of course, having them repeat 2 sessions in a row here would have been a little hectic and a little crazy, but it is not the case. And now we move on to the main event here. As far as qualifying is concerned, it is time for the top 10 shootout. It is time for qualifying 3. We're gonna see the lap times really fly now. The drivers are gonna be very quick, very pacey here in Q3. I think they're really gonna be pushing the cars as much as they can, because this is where it matters. This is where, if you're in this top 10 shootout, you can now compete and try to snag the coveted pole position here at Zandvoort. And it is something that a lot of the drivers will want to have. And it looks like we're already seeing drivers hitting the track here early on. Jonathan Dunk on an outlap. The two Williams of VZ and Konze Opoder on an outlap. Maybe might be trying to help each other here, or just trying to stay out of each other's way in the process. But and also you've got Mr. Clean and Passassin, the two Mercedes drivers, going together too. I think Passassin's going to be the lead one of the two, with what might be Mr. Clean sticking in the the slipstream down that start-finish straight, just looking to get the toe from Passassin in the process, help himself on the lap, which could be a strategy here if you've got your teammates. But Jonathan Dunk coming around the final corner will be kicking things off here in Q3. Towards the line he goes. Let's do this. Q3 starts now for real. And coming through turn 1 is Jonathan Dunk, and we will see what that quote-unquote benchmark time is going to be, what the first time to beat is with this first wave of laps from all these drivers. Once again, really enjoying that tight line through the banking is Jonathan Dunk. Like so many of these drivers here, yellow flags coming through, and I think that's just teammates getting sorted out. Jonathan Dunk for sector 1 was purple, so fastest it seems as the first running driver. Now through sector 2 we'll see what it's going to look like for him as he comes through the sweeping area of the circuit, opens up that DRS flap towards sector 2, and it is purple for him. Let's get this stuff up here just so we've got a better idea of timing and the pace of the drivers. But with only a few corners to go, coming around the penultimate corner and now the final banking corner here, and towards the line, as it looks like that was one of the Mercedes who went off. It's a 109.715 for Jonathan Dunk. It's looking to be, no, that was Passassin who had a bit of a moment there on his flying lap. Will need to abandon the lap. Here comes Cones crossing the line. It's a 109.288. VZ is going to be next. Let's see what he can do as he's heading towards the line. VZ sets a 120.561, so a bit of a pedestrian lap time for VZ there on that first lap time. There must have been a mistake somewhere along the way that we didn't quite see. I think Lightwork's going to be the next driver to get a lap time set here as coming around the final corner now. More yellow flags as drivers getting themselves sorted. Passassin with a 123. Lightwork with a 109.444. That's more like as far as the times are concerned. Equazer just about to start his flying lap and is just crossing the line. Crew Steamers goes P5, immediately knocked off by Fuse Rogue, who went P4. So Crew Steamers now down to P6. So out of the 8 runners who have time set so far, it's Cones Aopoder who is currently occupying provisional pole position, but watch out for drivers like VZ and Passassin, whose times are very much so not representative of the pace these drivers have. Very banker lap-esque, so expect them to really ramp up the pace here on their second flying lap here once they do take it a little bit later in this session. But now we've got Equazer and Warrior Ants who are about to finish their lap. Warrior Ants about to cross the line first. Show me the time for the Red Bull driver. It is P9, a 129.9. So another pedestrian lap time here for Warrior Ants, and the bottom two really off the pace here just a little bit. And VZ did go faster, sets a 110.1. Equazer crosses the line, goes P3, a 109.666 for the Alfa Romeo driver. Pulls the number of the beast there, it seems, but finds himself in P3 with that lap time for the number 21 Alfa Romeo driver. That's a Red Bull of Warrior Ants, who is out of qualifying 3. A costly mistake there for Warrior Ants. Through the bar a little bit somewhere in the banking section, hitting the wall, and unfortunately that wall comes at you very fast. Not much of any runoff at all there in that corner, so you just gotta hope for the best. And for Warrior Ants, unfortunately, he did not get the best. But 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go in this qualifying 3 session. It is the Williams of Cones Aopoder who is currently sitting on provisional pole position here, and with only one more round of laps for most of these drivers, it is all gonna come down to the wire. Who is going to get pole position? Will it be Cones in the Williams who's gonna be sticking by it? Will it maybe be Passassin who can get a lap, who knows and who can and will get a lap time in when it matters most? Maybe one of the Aston Martin drivers that have always been flirting with that podium, flirting with the top step here, as Fuse Rogue, I think, went for one more lap time here on those softs, and now going to be diving into the pits on the in-lap. But for Cones, he's coming around the final corner, and I'm just going to jump on board with Cones, and I'm going to let you all listen to the sound of the Williams tackling Zandvoort here on this lap for a little bit. Alright, so Cones purple in Sector 1 here on this lap, so looking to be good, absolutely flying around the circuit here in Zandvoort. Let's see if he can keep it up through Sector 2, taking that line, opening up the DRS flap here, heading down that back straight. As he hits Sector 2, it is faster, 1.5 tenths of a second faster, so looking to be lapping near the 109.1s, the low 109.1s, maybe even the 109 flats. Let's see, maybe he can break it into the sub 109s if he can find just a few more tenths of a second here. As he heads towards the line, what's it gonna be? It's close. It's a 109.073. So the job is done for now. He does improve and does stretch that gap to pole position here. As now we've got a few more drivers on their out laps looking to challenge. VZ is on an out lap right now. Crew Steamers on a flying lap, looking to take advantage of what is that. Wonderful sight of clean air in front of him. Doesn't want to be affected by traffic, doesn't want to be bothered by all of that, just wants to be on track, rely on the pace to get that lap time set. And as he's opening up that DRS flap, heading towards the end of Sector 2 off to Sector 3, it is purple for him. It's a 48.8, 6 tenths of a second faster, so looking to be right around the 110, the mid 110s for Crew Steamers there. So let's see if he can keep it up. Maybe he can knock a little bit more time here. Coming around Sector 3 towards the line he goes. What's it going to be? It is going to be nearly 9 tenths faster for Crew Steamers. He's in P7 with that lap time. It's a 110.273. So a good lap time from Crew Steamers there. And it does promote him up one position in a very important qualifying 3 session that will determine where these top 10 drivers will be starting the race. 2 minutes and 40 seconds and counting to go here in Q3. The closing stages of qualifying 3 really down to the wire now, as I think there's only gonna be time for 1, maybe 2 more laps at most. And that is, that looks to be Passassin, who's not facing the right way. VZ slowing down, letting Crew Steamers through, as VZ was on an outlap right now, it seems. Not looking to improve there. Crew Steamers, meanwhile, is going slow, about a second slower here as he's on his in lap. So I think that's going to be the end of his qualifying now. Fuse Rogue, meanwhile, is just coming around turn 1, just starting his flying lap here, leading the charge here from a lot of these drivers. VZ just now crossing the line to get his lap done, and it's going to be Equazer next after that, and I think it is Passassin who's just about to cross the line now. But for the moment, let's stick with Fuse Rogue, as he is leading this final wave of flying laps, it seems, here in this track, in this circuit, or at least as far as I'm aware here, as time is ticking down, and drivers are going to have at most 1 more lap here with 1 minute and 16 seconds and counting. It's going to be close, but I think this is going to be the lap that's going to decide qualifying 3, and it's going to decide the order here for the top 10. As here we go, coming around the final corner is Fuse Rogue as he heads towards the line. Show me the time. Is it going to be an improvement? Yes, it is. Up to P3 goes Fuse Rogue. So good lap time for him. Next up, I think we've got VZ who's about to cross the line. And that's an invalidation. A costly mistake for VZ. Let's see if he's going to go anyways. Yes, he is. So he's going to go for one more here as he's coming around. Here comes Equazer as he heads towards the line. It's going to be second fastest for Equazer, a 109.437, and now we've got the ring of cars here, all led by Passassin, who's coming around. He's going to be knocking some time off of that lap, possibly, but definitely a little off the pace here, and maybe keeping a little bit of that pace for the race. Mr. Clean crossing the line about 3-4 seconds slower than his best time, and now Crew Steamers, he's had it with qualifying. That's the end of his showing as time has ticked down in qualifying. Jonathan Dunk coming around the final corner for the final time here in qualifying. Where is it going to put him? Up to P2. So a fantastic lap, and let's see where everybody else is going to fall. Fuse Rogue currently in P5 right now, around the final corner, heading to the pit lane, will not improve, will be remaining in 5th position. Equazer next to come around the final corner. Where is he going to find himself here as he is slowing down, heading towards the line, and not going to be an improvement. I think that's VZ now coming around the final corner. Not much in the tank for ERS to the line, and it's going to be not faster. Next up is going to be Passassin as he's now coming around the final corner. Where is this going to put him? He goes second fastest. So now it's all up to, Cones to see. Cones does go faster at the end of the day. It's a 108.9, so Cones does break into the sub-109s. At the end of the day, it didn't matter all that much, but he just solidified that pole position and solidified himself as a threat here as we are going to move on to the race in just a few moments. So there you have it. That is the end of our qualifying session. Cones Aopoder in P1 for the Williams, Passassin in second, Jonathan Dunk rounding out the top three with Lightwork and Equazer in P4 and 5. Fuse Rogue, VZ, Mr. Clean, Crew Steamers, Warrior Ants rounding out the top 10 here. And other than Warrior Ants, which to be fair is very much so caused by that crash earlier in qualifying, the gaps are very close between the top 9 here. Like I said, Warrior Ants had a banker lap set, was going for a quicker one, but had a little bit of an accident, which meant that he could not finish that time, could not set it, so not representative of the pace of Warrior Ants there was that time. But as that is the end of qualifying, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank everybody for watching, and we will be moving on now to the race. It is going to be just about time for the Dutch Grand Prix here for what is going to be 36 laps around Zandvoort. 36 high-pace, exciting laps. It's looking to be a bit of a cloudy session here to kick things off. Not too sure if rain is going to play a factor or not. I like to keep that as a shock, as a secret here. We'll see how it's all going to happen, and if we're going to see strategies change on the fly. But as we're just about getting set and getting ready here, just getting final preparation done on the strategy calls, on the fuel load, on the tire choice. Here we go. We're going to be kicking things off in about 20 seconds time. Ladies and gentlemen, get set because the Dutch Grand Prix is coming at you here in just a few moments. All right, and here we go. It is time. We are here at Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix, and we are just getting set here with the formation lap. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching the North American Formula Series NFS Tier 1 Championship as we are here at the Circuit Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix. If you're just tuning in, we have just completed our full qualifying session, and now it is time for the main event, the race. So there you have it. There is the order. There is the tire choice. Let's go through it all together. Zandvoort got that pole position, the only driver to break into the sub 109s, and will be starting on the medium tires. Passassin with a return here at NFS, starting on the front row of the grid in P2 on the softs. Jonathan Dunk and Lightwarp third and fourth, row 2 on the mediums. Equazer on the softs in P5. Fuse Rogue starting alongside him on the mediums on row 3. Row 4, VZ and Mr. Clean with the 5th row. Crew Steamers and Warriorans on the softs. Villeneuve P11, best of the rest. Free tire choice on the hard tires with fellow Scuba Steve and Memon all on the mediums. Bucks JO20 bring F1, Hewlett Deere Racing all on the hard tires. Jacob opting for the mediums with Pitch Black rounding out the final position here on the grid in P20. Not qualifying at all there as jumped in a little bit late, going long on the hard tires himself. So it looks like the mediums and the hard tires are the strategy of choice for the better part of for the most of the drivers here on the grid. Most of these 20 drivers. Let's see how this is going to play out, because of course here around Zandvoort it's known we see a lot of safety cars, a lot of incidents, a lot of wing damage. Let's see how the drivers are going to handle this. But ladies and gentlemen, it is now time. Here we go. We just need the cue, the 5 red lights to start 36 laps around Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix NFS Tier 1. Up to 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights. And the lights are off, and we are racing here in Zandvoort as it looks to be a good start from all the drivers heading towards turn 1, battling for position. Fantastic side-by-side battle. There's a bit of contact near the back. That's Jacob and Deere Racing getting involved in a bit of an incident there, as we saw 3 wide as they're heading through the 2 McLarens and the Ferrari. It looks like that's the Haas getting involved. 3 wide through the banking there. Oh, a big kick there. Thankfully, that doesn't end worse than it did, but it's a bit of a kerfuffle here near the back of the field as drivers battling for positions. Elsewhere here, a little bit further up, you can see Mr. Clean putting a lot of pressure on Fuse Rogue. There goes Memon. Memon is off the track as he is going to have a long ways to go. Along with Jacob and Deere Racing, they are going to have to try to catch up as best as they can. Oh no, and there went a Ferrari. That looked to be Crew Steamers, who's going to lose out on a position here, losing the back end on the exit of that corner, and that is really going to be costly here, as is able to limit the damage to just losing out on fellow. But now with a yellow flag, that's Deere Racing once again off the track. Not ideal for him, as he's going to have to get back on there, and his gap is going to continue to grow. Equazer getting ahead of Lightwork here to go up 1 position, now chasing down Jonathan Dunk as DRS is not truly enabled. And that looks to be was that fellow or Bring F1? I think that was Bring F1 having a bit of a moment there on the exit. But as far as the top 2 are concerned, Passassin and Zandvoort are having a race of their own up at the front. Jonathan Dunk a little bit further behind, being pressured by Equazer, and the rest of this little group here with Lightwork, Fuse Rogue, Mr. Clean, they're all essentially right along suit, as Deere Racing taking a speeding in the pit lane penalty to add to his troubles there. Not ideal for him here in this stage, but it's still very early in the race. Loads of time to get back. Now Jacob not getting the start he was hoping for here. Doesn't look like he has much damage, and trying to chase down Memon as they're having a little bit of a battle here for the wooden spoon. but still something to keep an eye out here. But so far, everybody making it through relatively cleanly. You can see Quasar starting to continuing to try to make moves. As oh no, there went Mr. Clean, and Mr. Clean fell off the rails, it seems, as that car is facing the wrong way. Now is getting back on track just now, but down in P16, and is going to have to pick up speed, and you'll see getting caught up and maybe overtaken. Ooh, they had to slow down there just for Mr. Clean, so not ideal there. But that 2-car battle becoming a 3-car battle now here, as we'll see. But like I was saying, Quasar is flying on circuit as of right now. He is a man on a mission on those soft tires. Up into P3, trying to chase down the top 2. He wants to get involved in that battle. He doesn't just want that P3 podium. He wants P2. He wants P1. All the while, though, meanwhile, Villeneuve and Bucks having a little bit of an overtaken battle. And Bring F1, I think, is just leaving the pit lane. The 2 Alpines of Hewlett and Pitch Black are trying to work together, it seems, to catch up to Villeneuve and Bucks. But it's a lot easier said than done. We will have DRS activated, though, so that is going to help, especially with these overtakes that we're going to see. You can see the rear wing opening for all these drivers that are heading down the start-finish straight. But it is a little bit of a train here, so it's not really benefiting anybody more than anybody else here. It's evening out the playing field at the end of the day. But of course, now that I mention that, there's a little bit of contact there. Pitch Black and Villeneuve, and it looks like Pitch Black may have forced Villeneuve off just a little bit there. Now that was Bucks JO20 into the banking, nearly losing his, nearly crashing out there through the banking. Thankfully, he's able to keep that car in one piece and can continue on, but that was a lot more dangerous than, that looked more dangerous than what it was. There went Crew Steamers off to Narnia, almost, it seems, and he's having a big moment there as, oh no, things going from bad to worse for Crew Steamers. Not too sure what's happening there. Definitely looks like it's some possible mechanical issues for that car, as it is not cooperating here in Zandvoort in these early stages. And now is going to have to try to deal with that car in the condition that it's in. I think looks like that might have been Memon that had a bit of a moment, but you can see. Oh my goodness, what is? Oh, there we go. Now it's showing Villeneuve. We were showing interesting here. But we've got the 2 Alpines working together, kind of exchanging positions, helping themselves out here with DRS. Jacob getting ahead of Bucks here at the end of lap 4 to start lap 5 of this Grand Prix. But here, 5 laps in, and we have had a lead change. It's Passassin now leading the Grand Prix. Cones is now in P2, chasing Passassin down. Quasar, meanwhile, has not been able to close that gap up to the top 2. Finds himself now in 2.2 seconds behind Cones in P3, and being pressured by the likes of Jonathan Dunk and the rest of this little pack that's riding along with him. But you've also got Fellow putting some pressure on Warrior Ends here in this midfield. Mr. Clean and Bucks exchanging positions here on the track a little bit further down the grid order, but Fellow really trying to snag that P9. He wants to get a move on here, because once you get past Warrior Ends, you've got a little bit of clean air to work with to try to close up to VZ. And if you feel confident with that car handling in that clean air, you want to go for it. DRS is going to help. He's going to have to go the long way around turn 1. How is this going to turn out? Look at this, still side by side, and it is going to be Fellow who gets the overtake done. So that Haas driver does get up into P8, and seemingly looks like his teammate Bring F1, unfortunately not with the same luck, bringing out that yellow flag elsewhere on track, running in P20, not having the best race here in Zandvoort today is Bring F1, unfortunately for him. But still early stages, still time to try to claw your way back up the field. Anything can happen, especially in a track like this, like we saw in Q1. All it takes is one incident, one crazy moment, and all of a sudden you're right back into this race. So we'll see how this is all going to play out. As looks like that might have been Crew Steamers, I think, that had a little bit of a moment, and that is going to bring out a virtual safety car here. So we've got our first virtual safety car here, lap 6 out of 36 of the Dutch Grand Prix, with Passassin leading the way. Cones AO Poder in second here, 1.1 seconds behind. So it is a two-horse lead, or two-horse battle for the lead here in this stage, with Equazer now finding himself 4 seconds behind. And those soft tires, I think, are starting to miss out, starting to lose out on some pace here for Equazer, compared to Passassin's tires that we're seeing are handling a little bit smoother there from the Mercedes driver. But under virtual safety car, and just awaiting for the cue to go back to green flag racing, the drivers, they do get a heads up before we do go back. We in the commentators booth, unfortunately, we do not get that heads up. We just once the track map and the virtual safety car icon disappears, that's when we know we are good to go. So we're just awaiting for that here. But like I said, and there we go, right as I mentioned that, we are good to go. And it looks like Villeneuve, unfortunately, got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. I think that was Bring F1 here that might have had a moment bringing out the yellow flag. And yes, now Bring F1 is going to get himself involved in this chaos here. Ooh, that's a little scary for Equazer. Jonathan Dunk trying to get by. Lightwork doing something similar, but at this point, at the very least, they're able to get themselves sorted out in the straight. But a dangerous moment and a scary place to lose the car there, regardless of who you are there, but especially as a back marker. And with the lap cars coming at you here, that's always a little bit terrifying. Villeneuve, though, diving into the pit lane, is going to be taking a pit stop here under the safety car. We've got a little bit of a shimmy shammy here as the Warrior ends chasing down Fellow for this for the position that they are fighting for. That I don't think is accurate at all here. Oh my goodness, a big moment there as VZ and Bring F1 get caught together. I'm not too sure what happened there between the two of them, but very unfortunate. As where's that going to put VZ? Oh no, that is definitely something I think the stewards are going to end up looking into, and that is going to bring out a full safety car. As Bring F1, his day went from bad to worse, and his misery has come to an end here, and it's a DNF for Bring F1. But it is allowing for a lot of these drivers here that were running the softs, or those who just want to change up that strategy a little bit, to get off of those tires and put on something new. So you're seeing Fellow, Lightwork, Jonathan Dunk, they're staying out on that tire, they're staying on that strategy. All the while, the likes of Passassin, Cones, Equazer, Fuse Rogue, Warrior Ends, they're pitting here and putting on a fresh set of tires. So it's a very split strategy here for a lot of the grid. But as we let that get sorted out, what we know for certain at this point in time is that Jonathan Dunk is leading the Grand Prix. He is in P1, leading under safety car here for lap 9 out of 36. I will be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Just going to take a quick sip of water here as we are under safety car. So thank you so much for watching, and I will be back shortly here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Midwest, or sorry, not the, excuse me, the North American Formula Series, the NFS Tier 1 racing action here. We are under safety car. It is lap 10 out of 36 with Jonathan Dunk, who is leading the way here under safety car. We were seeing Passassin in the lead of the race. He is down in P4. That is, of course, because he did take a pit stop onto the safety car to get off of his set of soft tires and put on a brand new set of mediums. Cones A.O. Poder followed suit with that pit stop strategy here. But that did allow the top three. We're seeing Jonathan Dunk, Lightwork, and Fellow to get promoted into a top 3 position, but they are on much more worn tires. Now, of course, this whole safety car was brought out by Bring F1, who did unfortunately get caught up into an incident as it looked like with a car, as he was a lap down. So that might be something the stewards are going to look into. But did also crash out shortly after, unfortunately. So it was unfortunately not the best of afternoons, not the best of evenings for Bring F1, and it was an early end to a not so great afternoon for him, unfortunately. But I'm sure he's going to come right back at it next week and be ready to go. But speaking of ready to go, the safety car is coming in here at the end of this lap, so we will be going back to green flag racing here very shortly as Jonathan Dunk leads us around the final banking, going very slowly here. Just making sure he's got the heat in the tires, and there we go. Now we're going, and that's a little bit worrisome here, as you can see side by side here, our Fellow and Lightwork, as they're going. Fellow had to go around the outside, and that almost looked like Fellow lost the car there. He keeps it under control, but down in P3, there goes the Mercedes of Passassin trying to go around the outside. This is gonna be close here. Passassin does stick it, and there goes Cones, and oh no! Now there goes Fellow, spun around there through the S's. He's gonna have to find a way to get back on track, but he's gonna get knocked down the orders. There he goes, now back on track here, going very slowly and down in P14. So heartbreak for Fellow, who was running in P3, but unfortunately just practically bullied off track there, and unfortunately lost the car into the wall. Thankfully, though, it's just a little bit of wing damage, so he's going to be able to nurse that car to the pit lane and get that changed, but not ideal for him when part of that strategy was to stay out a little bit longer in this stint with those medium tires. Now that's kind of gone up in smoke, but a yellow flag in turn 1. Not too sure what that's for. Oh my goodness. Whoa, what happened there? Okay, there goes Lightwork now, continuing on his way, but right as we switched over to him, he was flipped over on his head there. I have no idea what happened. VZ now is retired. He's out of this session, so not too sure what happened to the Red Bull driver of VZ. Might have retired in the pit lane, but there goes Villeneuve as well. As Villeneuve is out of this session. What is going on here, as we've got yellow flags in every sector in turns, looks to be through the final corner, heading into turn 1, turn 2 from these retirements. Not too sure where they all came from, as we're down to 17 runners, as Villeneuve and VZ are both out of this Grand Prix. So unfortunate for them, but you do gotta think that maybe that incident with Lightwork had something to do with it. Memon and Bucks are having a little side-by-side battle, but Bucks getting ahead, and he finds himself now up into P9. Passassin, though, now going alongside of Jonathan Dunk, and Passassin retakes the lead of this race. Jonathan Dunk, though, trying to stick it back with him, trying to keep with the Mercedes driver here, formerly the Williams driver, in that Mercedes seat for a race. Very George Russell-esque from Passassin here today, it seems. But having a race here is Passassin, and look, Jonathan Dunk trying to keep up as best as he can, but it seems almost seems fruitless there with that tire choice. being on those 12-lap-old mediums compared to the 3-lap-old mediums that Passassin has on his car right now. But Jonathan Dunk doing a good job. That looks to be somebody not having a good time there in the banking corner. That's a Hewlett, unfortunately, with those hard tires, not working too well for him. That's now Fellow coming up close to him. On your screen right now, though, you've got Cones putting a lot of pressure himself on Jonathan Dunk. Now, Cones, before the safety car came out, he was the driver that was keeping Passassin honest. Now, for Passassin, having that gap, having that car between he and Cones is crucial. Cones, meanwhile, he's going to have to try as hard as he can to get past Jonathan Dunk as quick as possible to try to reclose that gap, try to catch up again with Passassin, keep that Mercedes driver honest, maybe force him into a mistake here around this track that seems to draw out mistakes from everybody. So we'll have to see how this is going to play out here in this battle for those for that top two. We've also got a midfield battle, and oh no, there went Bucks. Bucks is out of this Grand Prix as now we've got a little bit of a gap here, but that is going to bring out a full safety car for Bucks JO20, who crashed out on the exit of the banking, and now as the safety car is coming out on track. Don't cut off Scuba Steve. Don't cut off Scuba Steve. Scuba Steve's sticking behind the safety car. Just can't seem to get by him here in Zandvoort, as hard as it is. Safety car being as unpredictable as ever. You love to see that. I think now it's going to park up and wait for the leaders. But unfortunately for Bucks, he is out of this race. That has brought out our second full safety car. And I think now for Jonathan Dunk, we might see him take a pit stop. Passassin is going to take a pit stop. Maybe try to put on a set of, he's going to do another set of medium tires. So, interesting here, an interesting call. Yeah, Jonathan Dunk is pitting. That I'm not surprised. But meanwhile, like I would have expected, Cones and Equazer and everybody else essentially all staying out, unless barring those who absolutely needed to take a pit stop. But I do think this might be a relatively quick safety car, only a couple laps here as the grid is going to just catch back up, and we will continue onwards. We do have a little bit of a separation here with the grid order, but under safety car going at that slower pace, it should allow most of the drivers to catch up relatively quickly, especially given we didn't have too much time between the previous safety car and this one. But of course, we are under safety car here, lap 15 out of 36, so still tons of racing to go here in this Grand Prix. But I'm just going to go ahead and take a quick sip of water. I will be back in just a few moments, so thank you everybody for watching, and I will be back shortly here. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I have returned, and oh my goodness, what the heck happened here? That's Passassin out of the Grand Prix, and it almost looks like Passassin retired in the pit lane. So it seems like Passassin, he's had enough of this race. He is maybe had one too many mistakes. Maybe I'm not too sure what it is. Must be a mechanical failure. But for Passassin though, that is the end of his Grand Prix. He is now going to be watching from the sidelines as we are down to 15 runners, and as light work is catching up to the back of the safety car queue. I would not be surprised to see us go back to green flag racing, but the big talking point while I was gone, Passassin is now out of this race. Not happy with the way things are going in Zandvoort. And that's Hewlett going for a little bit of a spin. Worst possible time, as the safety car is indeed coming in here at the end of this lap, and taking a little bit of a billboard there, an ad board for good measure, was Hewlett taking that frustration out. And lost out in a few positions, but still very much so with that safety car queue. But now as it's slowing up, Cones is becoming the de facto safety car. Let's see how he's going to lead the drivers out. Let's see how he's going to handle this safety car restart. Coming around the final banking and heading towards the line. Let's see how he's going. Just getting everything ready, getting that final little bit of heat in the tires, waiting for the last moment. Now he goes, and once again we're seeing a little side-by-side battle here for P2 as they're getting caught off guard. A little bit more single file now as they all head through into turn 1, but oh my goodness, that was Scuba Steve launching one down the on a move on Jacob. Jacob down to P12 and going right back at it here through the banking, but with those hard tires, just not having that same grip that Scuba Steve has ahead of him in that Alfa Romeo on those red wall soft tires. So Scuba Steve on a mission right now, looking to close that gap right back up. Warrior Ants, meanwhile, a little bit further ahead, chasing down Fuse Rogue. He is well in this battle here for that podium. If he can keep it calm, keep it steady, only 0.4 of a second behind, and just gonna have to nail these exits here. And we're starting to see already a little bit of a gap being formed between Jonathan Dunk in P7 and Memon, who's in P8. Memon kind of holding back the Ferrari fellow in the Haas, the Alfa Romeo, and this second group of cars that we're seeing all stuck in a train together, led by Memon. Meanwhile, Jonathan Dunk is the trailer of that, just catching up to that train there, the initial train of the lead cars here. Lightwork diving into the pits. So after only 3 laps on the mediums, Lightwork is taking a pit stop. Not too sure what's going on here for the. It looks. Oh no! It almost looks like you have to take a drive-through for an incident, so not ideal there at all. Fuse Rogue is putting pressure on Equazer. You can see Jonathan Dunk now right up along the back of Pitch Black, who's right there with Mr. Clean. So this is going to be a good battle incoming, a good battle brewing. Scuba Steve right up along the rear diffuser of Fellow there, as Scuba Steve is really trying to get a move on, and he's waiting for DRS. I think he's going to have to nail the exit out of this corner. He's not going to get DRS, but he can use some of that battery to his advantage. But Fellow just getting such a good exit there out of that corner that essentially nullifies the advantage Scuba Steve has with those soft tires. So really gonna have to rely on DRS, I think, is Scuba Steve, given the lines here. Jonathan Dunk, meanwhile, I think maybe had a mistake, because that's Memon getting by, and Jonathan Dunk, who was right up along the back of Pitch Black about a half a lap ago, now finds himself mixed into this battle with Crew Steamers, and you can see Scuba Steve and Fellow that had exchanged positions. Finally, Scuba Steve getting ahead of Fellow, but oh no, and there goes Cones. Cones the Opoder is spun around. He has no front wing, and that is going to be a long way to the pit wall for Cones Opoder, who is now well down the order, and that promotes Equazer into the lead of the race here on lap 19 out. Oh no! Oh, a big crash there, a big accident, as that was Crew Steamers out of this race. Scuba Steve into the wall. He's gonna get back on track. It's gonna bring out a safety car. Scuba Steve, the main goal is to keep that car in check. It looks like he's able to do that, waiting for the coast to clear, but honestly, I don't think Scuba Steve did anything wrong there. It almost looked like as if Crew Steamers just clipped the curb a little bit too much and just lost control of the car all on his own, and Scuba Steve all the while just had nowhere to go but right into the back of Crew Steamers. Thankfully, the damage isn't as bad as it could be, and it did bring out the full safety car, so that is going to allow Scuba Steve to catch back up. But down in P13 now, he is gonna have his work cut out for him to regain those positions that he had lost due to that incident. But it does bring us down to 14 runners in this Grand Prix. And Equazer is now leading the charge back and will be leading the safety car restart now. We've had a few different safety car restart leaders, so we'll see another different strategy. And once again, I do not think the safety car will be out for too long here, as the previous one just came in not too long ago. So I think the grid is going to get back together, and we will be able to go in about a lap or two's time. That is my prediction. We'll see if that's how things are gonna play out. But unfortunately for Crew Steamers, a costly mistake through the very high-speed Sector 1 of this circuit, right near the end of Sector 1. Unfortunately, unsettled the car, did bring Scuba Steve with them, but I think that's essentially a racing incident in nature, just Crew Steamers making the mistake. Thankfully, though, Scuba Steve is still in this race, and Crew Steamers, though, unfortunately, he is out and will be getting an early preparation to next week's race. And of course, speaking of next week, we will find ourselves in beautiful Italy. We are heading to Monza. So is the real life Formula One Grand Prix, and as you can see here in NFS, we are following the real life Formula One circuit when they do hold races. So after the Netherlands, we are heading over to Monza. That is, of course, next week. On September 12th, but before that, we do need to complete this race here. Of course, tons of racing to go. It's only lap 21 out of 36. We're past the midway point, but still have a good 15 laps to go in this Grand Prix that has already proven to be very exciting, and it has proven very challenging here for even the best of drivers here in this circuit. But it is Equazer leading the Grand Prix, sticking with those hard tires. Fuse Rogue also on those hard tires behind in second. Warrior Ants rounding out the top three in this state and time. No penalties for any one of these drivers so far. So drivers really starting to learn their lessons here to stay off the curbs, and that is that is reflecting here with the penalties. But of course, as we've seen, the curbs are very dangerous in any circuit, but especially here in Zandvoort, that we have seen them cause so many issues so many times in the past, and of course here is no different. But we're here on lap 21 out of 36. The safety car has turned off its lights. Yes, it is time to go back to green flag racing here to start lap 22 out of 36. This is going to be good. It is Equazer who is leading the pack, leading the field here for the safety car restart in P1. Fuse Rogue is right behind. You can see the gaps are relatively close here. A light work taking a 5-second penalty for a collision with Pitch Black. That is not ideal here for that safety car restart. But here we go. Starting much earlier is Equazer taking the banking, heading towards the line. We are back to green to start lap 22 out of 36 here, and it's looking to be a good start from everybody. Memon, and Memon nearly losing the car there, going slow, and now is going to maybe lose out in another position to Jonathan Dunk, who gets well ahead. Memon just not having that line and is now caught up. Fellow in Pitch Black going side by side here. Ooh, a little bit of wibble wobble there from the Alpine driver, but gets that under control, and now chasing down, not going to try to force a move in this section of the circuit. We've all seen how that'll end up, but sticking close by, trying to get the overtakes done. Same deal with Cones, who is on the soft tires, trying to find an opportunity to get ahead of the Alpine. And I think we're going to see it right here. Oh no, but Cones got a little bit too, oh my goodness, that is very unfortunate for Cones, as I think got a little bit too overzealous on the move, tried to go for something that wasn't really there, and unfortunately ended up worse off for it, and really is going to have a gap to close up now is Cones A.O. Poder, but we are going back. But there went a Red Bull. That's Warrior. Oh no, a big accident once again as Warrior Ants just trying to get to the pits there, but with Pitch Black trying to get out of the way, and Warrior Ants ends up steering right into him, and that unfortunately, thankfully, it keeps both cars in the race, so we're not having any extra DNFs, but it is going to be a big time loss for both of those cars, so very unfortunate here, as they're both putting on a set of soft tires, might be trying to go to the end of the race with them. But they're really going to have to close that gap and really fight amongst each other. Speaking of fighting here in the process, Fuse Rogue and Equazer are having a little battle on track here for P1 and P2. You love to see this. They're both running a similar strategy, both on the hard tires. That has been working really well for them. We'll see if they can maybe bring these tires and make them to the end of the Grand Prix. A little bit of a tank slapper for Fuse Rogue on the exit of that corner, as that's going to benefit Equazer just a little bit. It's gonna grow that gap. But, of course, here with, as we're finishing lap 23, starting lap 24, with DRS now being enabled, this is where things start to get good. Jacob now chasing down fellow Deary Racing. Oh no, getting a 5-second penalty for ignoring blue flags. From bad to worse for Deary Racing, as he's just trying to get out of the way, but does get a penalty for ignoring those blue flags. He's just caught. Those safety cars really haven't worked out too well for Deary Racing, as he just has not been able to unlap himself, and then he ends up here under safety car just being tossed right into the mix and really can't unlap himself here. So it is a little frustrating, a little unfortunate for Deary Racing, but it is sometimes that's just the type of race that you're having. You just gotta make the most of a bad situation and use it for data, use it for experience, and come back next week even stronger. But here we can see Jacob really riding that rear diffuser of fellow. Jacob really wants to get a move on. He wants to get that Red Bull past that Haas, and I think we might see it here with a good exit around the final corner. Look at how close they are, and going to the outside line is Jacob. They're side by side. Oh, and there goes that McLaren getting back on the racing line, almost benefiting fellow a little bit more, but it looks like there's just enough distance now for Jacob to get ahead. Fellow down in P7, Jacob now in P6 here with 11 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and Jacob now chasing down Memon for a top 5. Let's see, is he going to try to finesse one here, go alongside through this section? He thought about it, but thought better of it, knowing generally what tends to happen when you try to force a move in this area of the track. But you can see the sense of urgency in Jacob's stride here in that Red Bull, as he's trying to create a gap from fellow, trying to get past Memon. Memon, though, he's got a good exit of that corner. But I think with the start-finish straight, no DRS for Memon here, as he's 2.7 seconds back of Jonathan Dunk, who's chasing down Mr. Clean for that final podium position. It looks like Jacob might be able to get him down the start-finish straight. What a pace difference here, as Memon just cannot compete well before the start, turn 1, the braking zone. It is Jacob up into P5. Now let's see if he's going to be able to chip enough of the gap to maybe go for it. Jonathan Dunk, meanwhile, right behind Mr. Clean, stuck well into that dirty air. Cohen's A.O. Potter setting a fastest lap of the Grand Prix on those soft tires, so he's flying now with that set of softs. Jonathan Dunk, who he's thinking really hard about going down the inside there. You know that's not going to happen, but it just looks so tempting every time. Without fail, you just want to go for it. But you also know very well that gap is just going to close up by the time you get that car into that gap. So wise moves from Jonathan Dunk. But here we've got battles here. Fuse Rogue and Equazer having a little bit of a battle here, duking it out, and Jonathan Dunk and Mr. Clean also having that battle elsewhere on the track. Fellow and Memon are going side by side, as we've got a yellow flag for Cones, I think, having a moment, and that's going to bring out another virtual safety car and going to force these drivers to slow down. Fellow, Memon all diving into the pits. Light work continuing on on his way. But with 9 laps to go in this Grand Prix, we have a virtual safety car for what I believe might have been for Cones. I think Cones had a little bit of a moment on the exit of the corner before the back DRS straight, flies into the pit lane and calls it an end to the session here for the Williams, as now we're back to green flag racing. Let's quickly switch back over to the action here as Jonathan Dunk right back up behind Mr. Clean, and they've now closed that gap up ever so slightly to the top 2, so this might be a 4-car battle before this race is over and done with. But for Cones, he's going to end up in P14, retiring out of this race, and you could see the frustration in that cockpit there as he was heading into the pits. But we'll be getting early starts to next week's preparation. But now on track, you've got these cars here. The top 4 positions, still anybody's to play for here in Zandvoort, as the laps are starting to tick down. We're starting to try to play mind games here to make you think about a pit stop. Was Mr. Clean. Jonathan Dunk, meanwhile, he's having none of it. Sticks to his line, trying to go around the outside, and it's going to be closer than it had to be there. Oh no, and there goes Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean is spun as there's a little bit of contact when he and Jonathan Dunk, but Mr. Clean just had the compromised line as he was heading into that section of the track. But and there went Hewlett now into the wall. He's got no front wing, and that's going to be a long way here into the pit lane. But is that going to bring out possibly a safety car? There went Mr. Clean once again, as things going from bad to worse for the Mercedes driver. But we're still racing here elsewhere on track as Fuse Rogue right up along the back of Equazer. More yellow flags here, but they're going to get themselves sorted out, and we're going back to green flag racing, so no safety car needed for that incident. But we've got here Fuse Rogue on putting a lot of pressure on Equazer, and to be fair, Equazer's been driving a heck of a race here for the entirety of this session. He's been so close, and he's been leading for quite a bit, but now feeling the pressure of the Aston Martin, excuse me. Memon and Mr. Clean have just exchanged positions, as Memon on those soft tires start to have a little bit of an extra jump in his stride. Oh, look at how close they are. Let's just jump on board with Fuse Rogue for a little bit, as now Memon gets past Hewlett with no front wing. Is that car of Hewlett? But Fuse Rogue's keeping that gap close. He's trying to stick with him as Hewlett now takes a speeding in the pit lane penalty. Unfortunate for him there, as that's going from bad to worse. Fuse Rogue, he's close. Is he gonna be able to get it with DRS though? That is the question that remains to be answered. And Jonathan Dunk lurking in the background, lurking in the shadows, waiting for his time to strike, waiting for his opportunity to his window of opportunity to open, I should say. Still 7.5 seconds behind Fuse Rogue, but Jonathan Dunk can close that gap up whenever he wants, and he can go for it here, especially with DRS. That's going to help. Speaking of DRS, heading into turn 1, it's going to be close. Equazer has to defend to the outside, but not enough is Fuse Rogue to get the overtake done. And I think this is the battle we're going to be seeing here for the next 6 laps here up until the end of this Grand Prix. Equazer against Fuse Rogue, as now 6 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Jonathan Dunk a little more than a second behind there, once again lurking in the background, lurking in the shadows, waiting for his opportunity to strike here for that final podium position. But 6 laps to go. Time is dwindling down here for these drivers who want to make a move, maybe try to end up in that final points paying position. You can see Mr. Clean putting a lot of pressure on Hewlett here. Let's just quickly switch over to that, and that overtake is going to happen now. Ooh, but Hewlett coming right back with those soft tires as they're going side by side. But look at that, the outside line is just so powerful here for the overtake. Mr. Clean up into P11, and Hewlett down into P12. But now as they're coming down the start-finish straight, here we go once again, starting in lap 31 out of 36, and once again it's Equazer leading the way into turn 1, and quite possibly Equazer leading the way for another lap here in this Grand Prix, because it seems like that start-finish straight is essentially the one and only overtaking opportunity here that drivers have, unless the other driver makes a mistake. But that's Scuba Steve out of this race. Scuba Steve is out of this Grand Prix. And this is gonna change everything. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a safety car that has come out here for lap 31 out of 36 for Scuba Steve's incident in the first of 2 bankings. The car has disappeared, but for this battle, Equazer against Fuse Rogue, here is the question: are they gonna pit? I mean, I don't know. I think they gotta pit here to get off of those hard tires. But of course, it's so close to the end of the race, and the top 4, top 5 are so bunched up together. But you gotta watch out, because you got Fellow and 6 on the softs. I mean, I'm pitting here in this situation. I'm not staying out, and it looks like they're gonna be staying out. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. Jacob is taking a pit stop. He's going for the softs, but takes a 5-second speeding in the pit lane penalty. But everybody, this is gonna be good, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness, this is really gonna make things interesting here, as now, you see the top 3, Equazer, Fuse Rogue, Jonathan Dunk, all staying out on the hard tires. Lightwork staying out on the mediums. They're all essentially 16 to 22 laps old. You've got about 4 laps to go, maybe 2 or 3 under green flag conditions here for the restart. But the grid is essentially going to be bunched up here in the process. So you're going to have the likes of Jacob, Fellow, Memon, Warrior Ends, all these Pitch Black, all these drivers on these fresh set of soft tires that are gonna be trying to push here. But I mean, of course, so many of them are lapped, it feels like, as D-Ray Racing just sort of stuck in the middle of this here, just can't catch a break. And you can see Jacob wants to get ahead, but now the position's been given. But the question is, will Jacob maybe get something for that there? Overtaken under the safety car? It doesn't look like it's the case, as unfortunately for D-Ray Racing, he just can't catch a break, just can't unlap himself here under safety car. So he's essentially forced to live permanently 1 lap down. But the rest of the grid order is catching up. We've got 1 more lap here at least under safety car. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be back in just a quick moment. Just going to take 1 final quick sip of water to get hydrated, tuned up, and ready to go for what is going to be a fantastic safety car restart here. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back shortly. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I have returned here, and sitrep, it is lap 33. We are under safety car here, and safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. Oh my goodness, here we go. It is going to be a sprint to the finish here, to say the least, here under this safety car restart. You've got Equazer leading the way, On the 23-lap-old R tires, your eyes are not mistaking you. Fuse Rogue, same strategy, 23-lap-old hards. Jonathan Dunk, 17-lap-old hards. Lightwork, 18-lap-old mediums. And as they head around the final banking, Jacob is lacking here on the restart. Caught a little off guard. Oh, and there went an Alpha Tauri. I think that might have been Deary Racing, who now finds himself even more than a lap down, just trying to get the restart done, possibly maybe trying to end his misery, but will not be ended that quickly. But here we go. It looks like it's a relatively clean start from everybody here that we're keeping an eye out on. Equazer still leading the charge. The top four remain unchanged, but after this start, here comes Jacob. Here comes the charge of cars on the soft tires, the soft compound here, and they've got about 2 laps to get these overtakes done and snag a possible victory, snag a podium away from these drivers who stayed out on the harder compound of tires. Here we go. Jacob already chasing down. Is he going to go down the inside here? Going to be hard on the braking, but Lightwork is harder. Lightwork goes a little bit deep. A switchback move is going to be tried, but no. Lightwork just puts that car in the perfect position to keep Jacob behind, and Jacob now using DRS, going for that push, going for the Jacob Express here down the start-finish straight. He's been nailing that corner all night, and here today is no different, but the Lightwork keeping his nose in there. Props to him for that, but it looks like it's too little too late now that he got alongside, as Jacob up into P4, and now chasing down Jonathan Dunk, catching up to this group of top 3 drivers, and now leaving Lightwork up to next to fend him off. It's Fellow now who is next in line. Let's see if he can go at it, but let's see who's going to go for the move first. It's the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix here, and the top 3 for now are hanging on for dear life, as you've got, like I said, Jacob, these soft tire runners on a charge here, but the oomph isn't there. I thought these soft tire runners would just be pushing as much as they can, and to be fair, Jacob, I think he is. He's doing all he can, but what's going on with these hard tires? They're just lasting a lifetime, it seems. They just won't degrade for these runners. But coming around the banking, here we go. There's no DRS to help, but look at this. Jacob doesn't even need it. Oh my gosh, look at this pace here, and around as they cross the line here to start the final lap. Side by side are Jonathan Dunk and Jacob here for that podium position on track. Oh, Jonathan Dunk going very deep. He's in the wall. Oh, he's in the grass, actually, not in the wall, but he's going to lose out on a lot of time, and there comes Lightwork right back at him with Fellow for good measure as he's going to tag along. Thankfully, there's a little bit of a gap here, but Jacob now has a 1.2 second gap to Jonathan Dunk. It might not matter with the penalties here, as Jacob has 5 seconds for possibly speeding in the pit lane, but looking to close that gap up. Only about a half a lap to go now in this Grand Prix. It's the final lap. Equazer still leading. Fuse Rogue in second. They're pushing as hard as they can here on the final lap to get the overtakes done, but it seems like it might be too little too late, barring some crazy moments. The only driver to watch out for, Jacob, with that slingshot around the final corner. He's been pulling that to perfection. Is he going to have enough room to get one more at the line? Let's see. Here we go. Ooh, it was close, but no, not close enough. It's Equazer who gets the victory. Fuse Rogue in second, Jonathan Dunk in third, Fellow in fourth, Memon rounding out the top 5. Jacob with that 5-second penalty falls down to P6. Warrior Hands unfortunately crashes out before the line on the final corner, so he is down in P11 and still will end up in P11 with Deary Racing being 1 lap down. But my goodness, so for Equazer, Fuse Rogue, they hang on. Jonathan Dunk still gets the podium even after losing it on track. So that mistake was not as costly as it could have been. But my, oh my, what a race that was here today. And Jacob getting driver of the day. And I mean, I do have to agree, penalty or not, it was a fantastic drive. drive from the Red Bull driver. But there is the podium. It's Equazer having a little dance here, enjoying the trophy, enjoying the champagne. There you have it. Congratulations to everybody on the podium. Definitely well deserved here. Enjoy the drink, enjoy the champagne, enjoy the trophy, enjoy it all. You have all deserved it here today, folks. But what a race, my goodness, what a race that was here today. It is Equazer, who started from P5, ended up P1, gets the victory here at the Dutch Grand Prix. Fuse Rogue in second, Jonathan Dunk rounding out the podium here. So Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin, AlphaTauri, 1, 2, and 3. Fellow, Memon, Joka, Mr. Clean, Lightwork, Hewlett, Pitch Black rounding out the top 10 with Warrior Ends and Deary Racing, the final 2 drivers to get classified. There you have the DNFs after that. Scuba Steve, Cones Leopold, Crew Steamers, Passassin, Bucks JO20, Villeneuve 1965, VZ, and Bring F1. But my goodness, that was a very exciting race for sure, and this has already got me excited for what's in store for next week. And of course, speaking of next week, we take to Monza. It will be time for the Temple of Speed at Monza. It is the Italian Grand Prix. It is going to be fast. It is going to be furious. It is going to be hectic. You will not want to miss it. Same time, same place, September 12th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, here at the in the NFS Twitch channel for Tier 1. So you're not going to want to miss that. But that will do it here for the stream for us here today. So I do want to say thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the race as much as I did here today. Of course, check out the Discord, check out the YouTube for NFS. Tons more racing content there. Check out the past broadcasts on Twitch. Tons of racing content there to fill your itch in the meantime. But until next time, on behalf of everybody here at NFS, my name is Fallen Monkeys, saying thank you so much for watching, and have yourselves a fantastic evening.